What's up, guys? Alright, so as most of you know already, if you know me, one of my favorite survival knives of all times, definitely the favorite one that I own currently, is the SE6. When I purchased the SE6, a really close friend of mine purchased the SE5. And, when we were comparing and contrasting the two knives, there was something about his knife that really stood out versus mine. And that was the 1/4-inch blade thickness. There's something about holding a knife with a 1/4-inch blade just makes you feel like, the knife is absolutely indestructible. It's like holding a railroad spike and knowing that nothing could, damage that blade. I really do like the 3/16 blade thickness of the SE6 as far as, for batoning and some other tasks. It's definitely thick enough, but the 1/4-inch blade thickness on the SE5 just really, caught my attention. So I always had in the back of my mind that I would eventually get myself a knife with a 1/4-inch blade thickness. So anyway, recently I was looking around online and I was on the Tops website and I noticed a couple blades that really caught my eye. And one in particular, which I ended up getting, is right here. And that is the Tops Steel Eagle 107D. So before we take a closer look at the blade, let's first get a glimpse of what this knife comes with. So here's what comes in the package when you buy this knife. First of all, the knife comes wrapped in a plastic bag. It's got the label here with all the different model numbers of this type of knife, which I will get into in a couple minutes. And then also in the bag is this certificate. This is a certificate of authenticity. It comes signed by Mike Fuller, the owner of Tops Knives, and it includes both the specific serial number for your blade as well as the model number of your blade. You don't see this too often when you buy knives. I think it's a cool little feature. It's something that authenticates the knife and shows you that you actually bought the real product and that it's not a fake or a copy. On the back, you can see it contains care instructions for both the blade and the handle, as well as some of the specs of the knife, the blade angle or sharpening angle, and also some recommended uses and things not to do with the knife. As well as these items, of course, you also get the knife here. It comes in a fairly nice ballistic nylon sheath. You also get a small piece of OD paracord, and then in the little pouch, you get this tiny little Tops whistle. These little whistles can be extremely useful when you're out in the wilderness. If you were to ever get lost or separated from your party, a little whistle like this gives you the ability to exert a loud noise over a long distance. If you're screaming bloody murder for a couple hours lost in the woods, you'll definitely blow your pipes out. A little whistle like this definitely enhances your ability to, signal over long distance. So, an awesome little addition. It's lightweight, it's very small, and it's free with the product. So I think this is a cool little add-on. Anyway, so that's about it as far as what you get in the packaging. Next, I'll give you guys a more in-depth look at the sheath, and then after that we can jump on to take a look at the meat and potatoes of this video, which is, of course, the blade itself. So here's the sheath that comes with the knife. Now I will say, this sheath comes with many of the knives that Tops puts out. I've seen in some other reviews people really knocking this sheath as a total piece of crap and whatnot. But I'm going to have to say that I pretty much disagree with that. The sheath isn't the top level sheath you could possibly get. I've seen better, on some setups. But it's also not total crap, and for what it's worth, it's really grown on me since I got this knife. So anyway, let's look at it. The sheath is made of ballistic nylon. I couldn't tell you the denier or anything, but it doesn't feel crappy to me. It feels like it's fairly, well constructed. For the blade, there is this plastic insert which fits through a slot that goes along this section of the sheath. This insert is bidirectional, so you can insert the knife for both right or left hand carry, and then I believe while it's not Kydex, it's still a very durable plastic. I don't think it would have any issue protecting the blade or protecting the sheath from any sharp points on the blade. So it's nice to have this insert inside of this nylon sheath. As far as the upper section retaining the knife, the sheath has these two Velcro straps, one at about 3/4 of an inch and the other one at about 1 1/4 inch. This isn't military grade Velcro by any means, but it's not total trash either. It's got like a nice little tab here so that you can grab each of these straps without locking onto some, your gear locking onto the Velcro. And all in all, these do a pretty good job of holding the handle and keeping the knife into the far into the insert. So definitely effective. Up here, along this whole top section, you have a pocket. The pocket is kept closed via this little Fastex-like buckle, and this buckle position is adjustable via this little strap that Velcros down. So if you want to tighten the pouch over something you're holding in here, you can pull that tight, Velcro it down, and shorten the pocket all together. If you want to extend it for something taller and let the lid ride a little higher, you can extend it, no problem. Inside the pocket, the pocket is kind of held closed by this little elastic strap, and I will say it's pretty effective. You can see the pocket's almost totally closed in the standard position, but this pocket does unfold to be quite deep. Definitely room in there for quite a few items. I would venture to guess you could probably put a little mini homemade survival kit in an Altoids tin with maybe some fishing lines, some fish hooks, some fire tinder, and maybe a fire spark, something like that. Quite a bit of room. You could definitely fit a couple lighters or a large folding blade in there, no problem. So, pretty cool to have a little pocket on the front of your sheath in case you want to add or any extras or tailor your kit to your specific needs. As far as mounting, this has a couple different methods of retention. The first one is for MOLLE, and it's you can see it's got this large strap here. The strap is secured at the bottom by a snap, and on top it's stitched. There's plenty of columns here, rows here, so that you can adjust this to mount on something like a battle belt, up or down, utilize it all or some as you see fit. I definitely, being that this whole sheath is about 14 inches long, I definitely don't think you'd be mounting this to something you'd be wearing unless you were mounting it to a battle belt on top and then just letting the bottom section hang. But for something like a bag, if you had a large hiking pack or a large, camping bag or something with plenty of MOLLE real estate on the side, you could definitely, latch it to that like this, no problem. Gives you a lot of versatility as far as MOLLE mounting. The other way, there is a loop at the top here, a belt loop, and it's definitely large. You could definitely fit this over a 2-inch belt minimum, plus room to spare. And so you could run this on a belt, and then also being that this comes with the 550 cord and it does have various eyelets throughout the kit here, you could run the 550 cord around your leg and back through to tie it off to secure the bottom to your leg and the top on your belt. So pretty adaptable, pretty versatile, and all around not a bad sheath at all for, you know, such an awesome blade. So give me 1 sec, I'm going to grab the blade so we can, you know, really get into the real deal steel here. So here we go. This is the Steel Eagle 107D. An absolutely awesome, impressive knife for sure. The D in the part number refers to the Tonto tip on this blade. The Tonto variant only comes with the saw top. If you order, or if you prefer the you know, drop point blade, you would order the 107C. And if you like the drop point blade with the 107C comes with a saw on top as well. If you prefer not to have the saw, you can order the 107E, and that is a drop point blade with a plain top. So quite a few different options as far as Steel Eagles go. The blade material used on this knife is 1095 carbon steel. You know, 1095 is an awesome steel in terms of, you know, longevity and durability. It is not stainless steel though, so it does require some maintenance. You will have to put, you know, a protectant on the blade, but, you know, for a hard use knife, I definitely don't have anything bad to say about 1095. The blade length on this knife, the cutting section, is 7 inches long. The entire section of blade from the handle all the way to the tip is 7.5, and from the beginning of the handle to the very end of the knife is 5.5. So the overall length of this knife is 13 inches long. The thickness of this blade, as I mentioned before, is a stout 1/4 inch, and you can see that the thickness, well, first of all, you can see that this whole this blade is full tang construction, and the 1/4 inch thickness runs all the way from the very back all the way up to here where it starts to shrink down. It is still very thick at the point. The you know, weight of this knife at 22 ounces, it is not light by any stretch of the imagination, but in terms of a hard use, combat or survival type blade, you know, the heft helps to give you confidence that this blade will not fail you when it counts. The saw on this blade, I don't know, try to give you a good view of the saw teeth. It's kind of got a offset grind to the left, right, all the way from front to back. This saw is extremely effective. I've seen multiple videos of people putting these saw teeth to work, and they definitely do the job. Top scored a big hit with the way that they grind their blades for this saw. And then up here you can see some open space or plain space here, which would be highly effective for batoning, giving you room to hit the blade on top without bashing or mashing up your baton on the sharp saw teeth. The top here, you can see as you move back from the blade to the handle, you've got jimping on the thumb ramp up here, and it is substantial. And then you've also got some jimping on the back of the handle here. Very nicely done. The handles on this knife are black linen micarta, and they are rounded off and shaped with superb execution. You can see the handles sink down in the areas where the jimping is, so that you definitely get the jimping becomes extremely effective. You definitely get, you know, utilize the jimping to its full potential. The handles are removable, and they do come with these very nice spacers between the blade and the handle to reduce a bit of the shock during chopping or hard use, and you know, all in all, very nice. At the bottom here, you can see that a portion of the butt of the blade is exposed, creating a nice pommel for any kind of glass breakage or smashing of any hard objects. This will definitely do the trick. Here you can see a hole here and a hole here, which would be extremely effective for lashing the knife to a stick if you needed to create a spear for hunting in the field. And then also another hole here. You know, you could use this also for lashing or as a nice lanyard hole there. Okay, now let me discuss something that kind of threw me off a little about this blade. The handle has a kind of directional shape which kind of slopes down here. The thickness of the handle in this area is almost full 1.5 inches, so it's definitely large. And then here it goes up to 7/8 thickness at the thickest points in the handle. This is definitely not a knife for people with tiny hands. Well, I will say, when I have gloves on, this knife feels completely comfortable in my hand. Holding this feels natural. But when I have no gloves on, this little index finger slot right here creates kind of a weird circumstance where when you put your finger into position, it feels normal if you're holding the knife like this for, you know, lighter duty stuff. But when you have to hold the knife like this, it kind of feels like the position of this finger choil here forces you to choke up so far on the knife. I almost feel like I'm falling off the front of the handle with this thing. I would have liked it if this was not there, or if it is there, maybe to scoot this back just slightly would have been a little bit, you know, more preferable to me. Also, another thing that I think about the handle, you know, when you have a saw on the back of your knife, and especially a useful saw like this, you're going to want to use it. When you flip this knife over to try to saw with it, the curvature of the handle in the blade direction creates a weird angle on the saw, and you can kind of see it here. If you're holding the knife straight, you'd think that the saw would be nice and straight, but instead it's kind of angled up, forcing you to, you know, crank your wrist like this in order to get a nice flat sawing surface. It's not going to be very comfortable for sawing, I can tell. You know, that being said, the angle of the handle does improve the ability to chop. If you choke back on the knife, this little finger thing does give you, you know, a position to press your index finger forward on, and then the blade is kind of angled forward a bit, so chopping becomes extremely easy with this knife. I would actually say that probably, you know, if you were going to take down a tree up to like 6-8 inches, I'd probably chop it down rather than saw it down. I see this saw as more effective in something like notching trees for signaling, or, you know, if you're building a shelter, something like that. I think the saw would come in handy for that. One more thing I wasn't totally sure about. In this area here, I generally like a small amount of more protection, this metal to come out further, so that there's absolutely no way when you're cutting or sawing that your hand might come past that section and get cut or slide onto the blade. It wouldn't happen often, but there's always the possibility. Having a little extra, you know, in this area, a little extra material here would help ensure that you would never come off the front of the handle. But those are just small things. All in all, I will say this blade is absolutely phenomenal, and when you hold this blade in your hand, you know you've got a heavy duty, hard use blade that is not going to let you down when it counts. So anyway, you know, I just wanted to take a second to give you guys a look. I didn't see many other great reviews on this knife on YouTube, and so, you know, I wanted to get it out to you guys. As always, if you guys have any questions or comments about this blade, definitely feel free to leave them below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and stay tuned for more good stuff coming soon. Hope you guys had a great weekend, and till next time, take it easy.